WrestleMania 41 took place tonight in Las Vegas, Nevada, officially in the unincorporated town of Paradise, Nevada at Allegiant Stadium. Now, before I get into the main card, I thought I should talk about the Countdown to WrestleMania show because, in truth, there was more news coming from that show than the entire undercard of WrestleMania. That's pretty sad. Certainly not the main event, but the undercard. So you had a really cool WrestleMania sign that I really wanted to mention. It basically says, "Welcome to WrestleMania 41." It mimics the "Welcome to Las Vegas" sign when you first arrive into Las Vegas Strip. I originally thought that would probably end up being the logo, but they went with something else. And the sign for WrestleMania, the logo that we see, is awesome, I have to say. But I thought that would end up being the logo. I thought they would just mimic that sign, so I wanted to bring that up. You had Big E, Wade Barrett, Pat McAfee, and Michael Cole all on the panel outside of Allegiant Stadium. They said earlier that Rey Mysterio would be a game-time decision. Right when I heard that, I thought, all right, Rey's probably not going to make it, and I was right. You had Jackie Redmond outside with the fans. She was there. You had Kathy Kelly inside the stadium. Both those two do a very good job. Wanted to mention both of them. And they did some work after the show, too, which I'll get to. WWE, the big news was WWE acquired AAA. So they had basically an impromptu press conference. They had Triple H on the panel with all the lucha stars in WWE. You had Rey Mysterio, Rey Fénix, Dragon Lee, Penta. You had Santos Escobar. You had all of Legado with him. And then at the end, you had the big star, the NXT Women's Champion, Stephanie Vaquer. And, yeah, this is a big news story. This is huge. AAA is a very old promotion. For WWE to buy it, it's a big deal. Some people are going to be upset. From what I've heard, AAA, their product is extremely unfavorable in terms of reviews it gets. The perception is very negative, so I don't think it's a huge deal in terms of quality, but WWE purchasing it, I don't see a big deal personally. I don't follow Lucha Libre. I really don't follow any other wrestling besides WWE, so it's not a huge deal to me, but others it might be. And I know it's a historic promotion, so that's a big deal in that regard. So the big sad story, negativity, was Jackie Redmond was interviewing Rey Mysterio, and he announced he can't compete at WrestleMania, and then he brought out his replacement, which is Rey Fénix. That really sucks for Rey. He got hurt on SmackDown the night before WrestleMania. He got hurt. I'm sure whoever hurt him, one of the Creed brothers who hurt him, probably feels awful about it. Last night on SmackDown, it just sucks. He really shouldn't be wrestling. I don't think SmackDown the night before WrestleMania is necessary. I just wish they would do a 3-hour Hall of Fame show and do that. And, they don't need a SmackDown for that. We could probably do a better rating, to be honest, because the Hall of Fame will garner more interest. But I don't know why that he was wrestling, and it just sucks. I really felt bad for Ray there. So we saw Kathy Kelly there, and I want to mention they have these new stage seats. I didn't realize that when they first introduced the set yesterday. The set's awesome, by the way. I had to bring that up. It's a masterpiece. The WrestleMania set's great. One of the best sets ever. I think it's right up there with WrestleMania 33, WrestleMania 39. This is probably the third best. I'd probably rank that right now. That's how I feel about it. Awesome set. I put it ahead of the 34 set, which is great. I put it ahead of the 37 set, which I think is pretty underrated. The 30 set I really like too. So a whole bunch of sets I'd put ahead of. Was an awesome set this year. Much better set than last year was. So you had Joe Tessitore also appear on the countdown with Sam Roberts. I just felt like there should have been matches on there, but whatever, it's over now. The next big news story, probably the third big news story after the AAA and then the Rey Mysterio news, was Bayley. Something happened to Bayley. Is she out? Well, yeah, she is. Bayley, I thought she's going to leave. I thought she might be leaving this company. That's why they do this. This is such a shitty thing to do to someone. Even though if Becky is the replacement, I understand Becky's just objectively a bigger star than Bayley. But for them to announce it, bring her back, and this is what they're going to do, that's really shitty. So they had Bayley being laid out backstage, and you saw Lyra Valkyria in panic. Liv and Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez laughed at them. Then Adam Pearce came in. He started yelling at both Liv and Raquel. It's clearly something's going on with Bayley. It has to be, unless she's legitimately injured. If she's injured, completely understand. No questions asked. I hope we get news about that. But when I heard this, I thought this might be the last time we see Bayley on her TV screen. I don't know where her contract status is, but I hope she's injured, because then she's probably going to be leaving. And for them to do something like that, they're not going to do that for no reason. They didn't have Bayley and Lyra win that multi-person gauntlet match on SmackDown a couple weeks ago for no reason. Clearly something is going on here, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's gone. The replacement has to be Becky Lynch. That's what everyone thinks. Who else could it be? They teased Nikki Bella. They were teasing a Chelsea Green special invitational match. I'm not sure we're going to even see Chelsea Green. We didn't see her at all tonight. They're teasing maybe Nikki Bella, and the other big name who was more likely than her was Alexa Bliss. I know Alexa Bliss is in town. She's in Vegas right now because I believe her husband has a concert. So she's there. She could come in. That'd be fine. I'd like to see Alexa Bliss, but it's her, Alexa, Becky, or Nikki. Also worth noting, speaking of Bayley, her friend, Mercedes, better known as, to most of us, Sasha Banks, tweeted in support of her, and it was a very much an emoji of a phone and dollar signs. I'm thinking to myself, she's telling Bayley to leave because she's probably pissed off because she thinks her best friend just got booted out of WrestleMania. And that's a lot of people's reaction. I thought they really did Bayley dirty here. So I want to mention some more stuff about the set. Just to say, it's a hotel casino thing, and you have seats both on the bottom of the stage and like the first level at the top. It's a really good set, and you have cards hanging from the ceilings as LED screens. It's very creative. And also you had sliding doors. I don't think we've ever seen that at WrestleMania before. You get sliding doors and the wrestlers come out. WWE also had these new cool announce booths that look like poker tables. It's actually really freaking cool. And we don't see that. And I didn't think you can break them, but they did. And I think we'll get to that a little bit later too as well. So we had Stephanie McMahon joining the panel. So I thought, all right, she's not welcoming us to WrestleMania this year like she did last year. But she was on the panel for a bit. They talked about Triple H going into the Hall of Fame last night. So also thought I should bring this up. This is my first WrestleMania on Netflix. Us international viewers, we have WrestleMania, WWE streaming virtually all their events on Netflix now. So WrestleMania is on Netflix. This is the first WrestleMania in close to 11 years. I think 29 or something before there was a network. Or 30, whichever year they brought the network internationally. Yeah, I have really missed the WWE Network, guys. WWE Network was awesome. But this was my first WrestleMania in so long not watching it on the network. And because I used to just leave the channel on all day for WrestleMania. But here I had to just go back and forth between YouTube to stream the Countdown show, and then Netflix to stream the WrestleMania show, and then YouTube again to stream the post show. But that's the new format. So we welcome us to WrestleMania. It begins. WrestleMania starts. The main card finally starts after a 3-hour countdown show, and we were outside of Allegiant Stadium to start us off. Michael Cole welcomed us to the show. We see some fans still filing in. We see Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Paul Heyman, who's with CM Punk, Charlotte Flair, and Tiffany Stratton all arriving in the building. Then we see Gunther and Jey Uso both warming up backstage, as it was been announced, and it's been known for a while that these two will start off the show. We have Triple H narrating the WrestleMania opening video package. He loves to do that. And then Triple H is in the ring to welcome us to WrestleMania. And I thought to myself, that's odd, because there's no national anthem. They always do a national anthem. It's usually always America the Beautiful. That's usually the one they play. No America the Beautiful? What's going on here? That was awkward. I thought we'd see it. But they had the first entrance, which is Uso. Jey Uso sucks. Okay, I've said that for so much of my videos. I feel vindicated after tonight, but I'm pissed off in a way because I was hoping he would just have a good match. I was thinking they were probably going to end up having a good match because there's so much pressure, and it didn't work. The guy is fucking shit. He's just a shitty wrestler. His matches suck. Anyway, he had a big entrance. They had Fatal Fury, this jockey on the stage. Then he had a whole bunch of people running down the stage holding up Yeet flags. And then you had a whole bunch of Oakland Raider cheerleaders in the crowd, in the stands, supporting Jay. And the stadium, I have to say, looked great. It's a great-looking stadium. It's probably the best stadium I've seen since 2 years ago, when they were in SoFi Stadium, but it looks really, really good. So you have that, and then you had Pat McAfee, Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, all on commentary. You had a white mat tonight with a whole bunch of logos, Fatal Fury in the middle, a whole bunch of stuff. It was almost looked like one of those old WCW rings. There's so much stuff there. And you had the Jay entrance. Everyone did the fucking Yeet thing. It is what it is. And then you had Gunther come out through the sliding doors. He just did his traditional entrance. But one thing before that, they actually had the beginning of the old Imperium theme, which I kind of was happy to hear. And then he just did the current theme, and he walked down the ring. Alicia Taylor did the ring introductions. And then we have our opening match, World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther defending his belt against the Royal Rumble winner, Jey Uso. Okay. Here's a good thing I have to say. The look of the show looks really good. I thought, this looks really nice, the way it's set up. Okay, that's about it. Fuck Jey Uso. This guy is a shit wrestler. His promos suck. They keep downing me. You fucking suck, Jey Uso. Your promos suck. Your matches suck. I've never seen a good Jey Uso match. It's super kick spear. He has the worst spear in the business. That continued tonight. His super kicks look like shit. It's just boring. He's not a good worker. His promos are garbage. He has no organic charisma. It's like a character that was given to him. It's not an extension of his personality. It feels like WWE just wanted to create this big, giant, mainstream hip-hop character, and they chose Jey Uso for that. That's what he's like. He thinks he's a hip-hop guy. I mean, anyone who gets all this merchandise they give him, they make him look cool for little kids. It's so obvious that they chose him to play this character. They want a big hip-hop star. That's what they want for this company. They think it'll get them more mainstream attention. That's how I just see it right now. They chose him, and the whole thing is, well, he sells a lot of merchandise, I have to push him. There's a whole bunch of wrestlers who were never pushed anywhere near as much as him, who sold a lot of merchandise. He's too cool. That's what his dad was, too cool. And his dad was over. But, Too Cool is fun. Scotty Tuhati, Brian Christopher, Grandmaster Saxy, R.I.P., and then Rikishi. And they were super over. And they were never pushed like this. Not even close. Remember, like Enzo Amore and Big Cass? Those guys were freaking over like crazy. Never pushed like this. They sold a lot of merch. I mean, the guy is shit. He's a shit performer. He's a good hype man. There's a place for him on the card. Just not on this level, and I think it shows. It's just sad. Fans like doing the Yeet thing. I mean, maybe some of them like it because they get a free workout. I mean, they're already paying, $60, whatever, I don't know how much money they're paying to go to WrestleMania or go to all these shows, which are a lot of money anyway, even in the non-WrestleMania shows. They just get a free workout with the fucking Yeet thing. Just, ugh. Might save them money on a gym membership. That's all I can think right now. That's why people support this fucking loser. Anyway, it was a horrible ending. Match went on. There was one spot I liked when Gunther used the belt. And I mean, if you can't have a good match with Gunther, my God, you're a fucking shitty performer. Jey Uso sucks. This is just bullshit. They had Gunther tap out to Jey Uso. I thought, oh my God, really? If they were just going to have Jey he hit before they hit 3 Uso spots. I was thinking, he hits the 4th one, he pins him, whatever. I won't complain too much. For him to make Gunther tap out, Gunther's been so protected for 3 years, and they just have him tap out like a bitch to this fucking bomb wrestler that he's beaten 3 times. Fuck off. Fuck Jey Uso. This guy sucks. They had Jay celebrate with Jimmy after that, and they went back up the stairs. Yeah, Jey Uso sucks. And one guy I have to shout out recently passed away, the late Kevin Castle. He on his podcast, he was a host on the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show. Kevin always said, right when Jey went to Raw a year and a half ago, he said Jey Uso is nothing. He's just coming up with his sunglasses. He always would criticize Jey. He said he's nothing. Even when people were praising him, the cool thing to do was praise him. Never liked the E thing. He always said this guy is nothing, and he was right. Kev was right. Jey Uso sucks. That's the last thing I'm going to say about this now. They show a whole bunch of celebrities in the crowd, and we get to the World Tag Team titles on the line. War Raiders, Erik and Ivar defending their belts against the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. We didn't get a Big E run, and I thought in my predictions we might get something with Big E. He was there. He was on the kickoff show, but he was not part of this. They got a video package. I don't know why. New Day's out first, and War Raiders. It's so weird because New Day had nuclear heat on them in December when they first turned on Big E. They had so much heat on them. Everyone hated them, and it's incredible how much they fumbled with this. They should have won the tag team belts earlier, and they would have had a lot more heat. Here, it's like no one gave a shit. I mean, I don't think on Raw they're really going to care that much. They'll get booed, but then they'll forget about it. I mean, no one really hates New Day. It's funny. I mean, I think people complain. I don't even want to bring this fucking guy up again. But Kofi Mania, compare him to the last guy, the previous guy who won the world title in the last match. At least Kofi had a great match with Daniel Bryan. The world heavyweight title match on this show sucked. Anyway, this tag match was just a Raw match. I mean, if anything, I've seen matches on Raw that are much better. And that's funny. That's actually pretty pathetic for a WrestleMania. It's just nothing here. The fans didn't give a shit. That was the biggest problem. They can give two shits. I don't blame them. And New Day wins. Match was just an average TV match. It wasn't horrible. They won in a heel fashion, and they won the titles. And I think the big thing everyone's going to take away from this is this was the wrong tag team title match to be put onto the show. Everyone in that arena, everyone in that stadium, I think even the family members of the New Day and the War Raiders, they would all agree that the match everyone wants to see, that they want to see more, is the TLC match for the WWE Tag Team titles, Street Profits fighting against Motor City Machine Guns and DIY. Everyone wants to watch that over this. That match, a TLC match at a WrestleMania, that would rule. Everyone would love that. No one gave a fuck about this match. It should have just been on Raw. If it was on Raw, I would thought, that's fine. Whatever, New Day gets the win, and for the hardcore wrestling fans who hate them, that's fine. No reason for this to be on this fucking show. Then we had more celebrities in the crowd. We then went to the video package with Jade, Cargill, and Naomi. So I have to say, I thought the entrances were pretty good. Naomi has this caution tape, and then she has whole new theme music, and it's heavy metal music. I'm thinking to myself, Naomi, Feel the Glow Naomi, Bad Naomi, heavy metal. It's like this death metal. I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? It doesn't fit her. What, Naomi? What? And the caution thing, I don't mind. I kind of like the outfit, how it fits her. Her whole thing is she's dangerous now. And then they have her breaking through the caution tape for her entrance, which is fine. But the whole thing of her being the whole heavy metal thing is just so awkward. But then Jade got her own entrance. They had a local weatherman from Las Vegas tell us that there's a forecast, and they had a green screen with Allegiant Stadium and see all this awful rain. And when does it rain in the desert? Not much, really. So then Jade got her big entrance after that, and then she had some of the there was effects there where they were making it look like there was a storm coming with steam, and I thought that was a cool entrance too. So both of them got special entrances, and I have to say this was the best match I've seen from Jade Cargill. This was a good match. This was a good women's match. I enjoyed it. Thought they could have got more time, and that's my thought of virtually almost all the matches. They really could have got an extra 4 or 5 minutes. But they have all these advertisements, showing all these celebrities in the crowd that no one gives a shit about. They got to do that. It's a bigger deal to them than giving their performance an extra few minutes. I thought if they had a couple more minutes, this was going to get into a higher gear. into the next gear. And this was a pretty good match, though. Naomi made her look good. She did the best she could for Jade. Jade got some good power moves. There was a good powerbomb spot. There was a cool spot from the top. Naomi you thought Naomi could pull this out here, but then once I thought Naomi would get help from 2 NXT talents. That just never materialized. I don't think that faction's going to happen. But Jade, she finished Naomi, and Naomi got a lot of offense, but Jade just finished her with she had her finishing move. Pins Naomi, and Jade Cargill wins her second consecutive match at her WrestleMania. And I thought this was easily her best match. I think Naomi deserves credit for getting her to that. Not a great match or anything, but a good, solid women's match. And this was the first women's match that was a singles match. It wasn't for a title, and it wasn't some sort of gimmick match, which is, I guess, an impressive feat in its own right. So, good on them. You see more celebrities. They show us the Sphere for a bit as it promotes one of WWE sponsors. I mean, they did stuff with the Sphere last year. I think they had a whole bunch of partnerships, or like they were doing promotion in the Sphere for last year's WrestleMania. And they did the whole thing on that Super Bowl weekend event they did last year, but and they did promos in the Sphere. But here they didn't even look at the Sphere. It was even acknowledged basically just one time. Maybe they don't want to do they don't want the pressure on them to do a show in the Sphere, which is extremely costly. I think UFC did it once. It was very costly to do that, and probably something they won't make money on. So maybe that's why they don't want to promote the Sphere, but. We saw it one time. Next, we went to the U.S. title match, LA Knight against Jacob Fatu. We got a video package. Fatu comes out wearing a werewolf mask. Solo Sikoa's with him. He pumps him up. No Tamatanga as LA Knight took him out on SmackDown. But Solo he made an appearance. It's funny, Solo Sikoa has been on the main roster since almost 2.5 years now, going on 3 years soon. And he's appeared at every single WrestleMania, 39, 40, 41, but he's never had a match. That's funny. He didn't have a match here, and this is the least involved he ever was. And Jacob went out, and then LA Knight comes out. LA Knight gets a special entrance. He arrives in a Maserati. Cool there. Made him look like a star. And then he makes his entrance to the ring, and the crowd finally woke up. This was, at this point, easily the best thing on the show. This was a very good match. This was going to be a great match, but then they ended it abruptly, which I don't understand why. There were so many times on the show. These guys are doing well. We're getting into it. The fans are starting to really wake up now. This is going well. And WWE just pulls out the rug and just finishes the match early. And think to yourself, why? Give these guys an extra few minutes, and they're going to have a great match. And this was still a good match. A solid, very good in a U.S. title match. Could have been great. The best part was, I think Fatu went for I don't think it was a moonsault. It was some sort of flip, and then LA Knight caught him with the BFT. That spot was freaking amazing. Fatu kicked out. They went back and forth. There were some really great counters. This was doing really well. I'm getting really into this now. And then Fatu just beats him. He just finishes him off with hits his moonsault a couple of times, pins him, and again, a very solid match. I really enjoyed it, but it could have been a great match if they got more time. We got a promo for WrestleMania 42, and The Rock did the narration here, and the show's in New Orleans. The Rock doing the promotion, is that a good sign that he's going to be there next year? He's going to wrestle? I don't know. But, this show, it clearly missed The Rock's presence. In terms of the promotion for the show, the build-up compared to last year, they missed The Rock. Next, he went to... It was going to be Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano, which turns out to be El Grande against Rey Fénix. We get the video package as if Rey's in the match, and then El Grande gets a big WrestleMania entrance. You have all the people on violins. They're treating it like he's a big Lucha Libre legend, and they have all of them on violins playing him out to a song, almost like a folk song. And then he makes his entrance, and it's all grainy footage to make him look like he's this ancient legend, this ancient Lucha Libre icon. And he has a really cool entrance, I have to say. Then Rey Fénix is out next, just to his traditional entrance. And I thought, okay, this was a solid matchup. It was okay. Nothing wrong with it. And then it just ends again, abruptly. It felt like a Raw match, just a Raw match. And if this was going to be the match he had with Rey Mysterio, it probably would have been better because there was going to be more fanfare. And Rey Fénix just doesn't have that same type of, he's just not as over with the fans as Rey is, because they don't see him as that great legend. And the thing with Rey Fénix, I thought when he got in the match, it was probably going to be a good thing in disguise, because he's a better worker than Rey is right now. Him and Gable probably have a great match. Didn't happen. I thought if Rey was there, it would have been the exact same thing. It's just that they would have had more heat from the fans because Rey's a bigger star than Fénix. So this was not a great match, just a Raw match. And there was a cool 450 splash or something by Gable. That was good. But then he just puts in the titanium plate and that's it. Hits a couple of headbutts onto Fénix, and he hits one from the top rope, and he pins Rey Fénix, and Grande Americano defeats Rey Fénix at WrestleMania. I'm sure some people are very upset. They hate the gimmick, but that was it. It's worth mentioning, before the match, he had almost a fight with El Vikingo, who I believe is a big star in AAA, and then the big AAA star came in the ring and held up Rey Fénix after the match. And that's how that ended. They promote the Clash in Paris show, which is coming up in the summer. I think that crowd will be much more into it than this crowd was. They show highlights of the they went back to the AAA news on the Countdown show. And they show, I think, the AAA president and some other high-level staff members in the crowd. Then he had Shawn Michaels out next. He announced the attendance, the 61,000 number, and that's fine. They had Shawn do it this time. And he did the DX catchphrase, and then they played the DX theme after that. Sure had a long day, as he had to wake up at 5 in the morning. That's what the announcers mentioned for NXT today. And then the announcers put over the set for a while. That was cool. And then they plugged the official theme song, Fiend by Travis Scott, who we might see tomorrow night. The announcers then showed us more celebrities in the crowd. They announced them. Then we go to the WWE Women's Championship match, Tiffany Stratton against Charlotte Flair. I have to say the video package was awesome, as a lot of these matches have great video packages. This one has a really good song by Lady Gaga. It really does a great job hyping up the match, and it makes it look a lot better than it actually is. It's just that these two women don't like each other, and they didn't really want to work with each other. You can tell that coming out of this match, even though it wasn't bad at all. You had Tiffany Stratton making her big entrance, and she has a Barbie entrance, which is awesome. You had 3 Barbie doll sets on the stage, and you can tell 2 of them are LED screens, because one's Tiffany in a dress, I believe, and one's another one of Tiffany, forgetting which way. I think maybe one of her earlier wrestling gear or something like that. That's how it was. And then the one in the middle is her in her current wrestling gear. So obviously that's just going to be Tiffany, and she comes out in the center. It's Tiffany Stratton. It was an awesome Barbie doll entrance. It was really creative. I really liked it a lot. And then she makes her entrance. She's a superstar. Everyone likes her. Charlotte Flair then comes out in a Rolls Royce. They had to drive up the stage to drop her off. She makes her entrance, and here it comes, this match. All right, so they got timed. I can't say like the other matches. They got close to 20 minutes, so they had enough time. It wasn't as much time as Charlotte had with Rhea Ripley a couple years ago, but 20 minutes should be enough. So fans hate Charlotte Flair. That's obvious. They love Tiffy. And they had a cool spot earlier to get a lot of heat on Charlotte, which I thought was well done. They had her use Stephanie Vaquer's move, and everyone loves Stephanie Vaquer right now. So having her take her move, it really made people hate Charlotte, even though she's done that move in the past before. And another complaint I had is she called spots way too loud. The big thing here is Charlotte's knee. Charlotte has the gruesome knee injury that they really haven't talked much about. And I think if they talked more about her knee injury and some of the build-up to her return at the Royal Rumble, the negative fanfare wouldn't have been as much. I think there would still be some people disappointed, but I think if they did that more instead of showing her on boat and stuff like that, it would have been better. But the whole thing is she's wearing a brace because she blew out her knee really bad, and she had a gruesome injury, and Tiffany's working over the knee, and that's the whole story of the match early on. and Charlotte tries to go for the figure eight, but Tiffy starts punching at Charlotte's knee to break it up, which is creative. Charlotte is having trouble on it, and Tiffy, however, also gets hurt in the knee because Charlotte works over it, and they had something where you can tell they just don't like each other. This stuff has been real. The 0-3 comment really got under Charlotte's skin. Charlotte going off on Tiffy, won't letting her talk during the split screen interview, got under Tiffy's skin. These two women don't like each other, and they didn't really want to work with each other. And the thing is, Tiffy, she got beat up here. She got a shiner right on her forehead. It's pretty noticeable. And then she got a chipped tooth. Charlotte really beat her up. It seemed like Charlotte was laying it in here. She did not like Tiffy, and she beat the girl up. But Tiffy, at the end, she made her come back. She hit, I think it was a suplex or some sort of slam into the turnbuckle. And then she had Charlotte in the center ring, hit the prettiest moonsault ever, and pinned her. And I thought she was kicking out because Tiffy kicked out of a really good move by Charlotte where she hit the natural selection from the top rope, and Tiffy got out. So I thought Charlotte was going to kick out, but she didn't. And I was surprised because I thought they would have a more near falls, but that was it. It ended a bit abruptly, but even though they had time, it was a good match. It was not a bad women's match at all, but Charlotte just had so many better matches at WrestleMania than this, so I think that's definitely a disappointment, but that was it, and I hope that's the end of the feud. They don't like each other, they don't want to work each other, they don't have the best chemistry. It was still a good match, but I felt like it probably could have been a great one if they wanted to do more, and if they didn't have so much heat. They show a whole bunch of fans watching the show internationally. They do a Hall of Fame video package up next, and then all the Hall of Famers are on stage without Lex Luger. We didn't know why. I assume it's because of his paraplegia. He's a paraplegic, and probably didn't want to put him on stage. It was probably too hard. But you had the Earthquakes family and Typhoon. They were on one part natural disasters, and then you had Michelle McCool. And then near the end of the stage, you had Bret Hart and Steve Austin. And Austin looked fine. Bret was pretty upset to be there. And then in the middle, you have Triple H who makes the entrance. And right when he comes out, Bret is just so upset. Bret is like, wow, what's going on here? You can see it in his face. Like, he was annoyed that Triple H got a special entrance. And he mentioned in the Hall of Fame they only had like 2 minutes. And when Triple H went to shake everyone's hand, Bret just, he immediately like almost rolled his eyes. It got me to laugh. It just, he still just doesn't like Triple H. It's funny. But Bret has 3 rings. I don't know. And, him being on the side, I mean, him and Austin have already been in the Hall of Fame. And, this was Triple H's time headlining it. So it is what it is. And then, it was not a big deal. I just thought I should mention it. They showed Io Sky riding in some sort of helicopter. I forget what it is. It's some sort of company that works with WWE, a sponsor in Las Vegas, and she's having just a fun time. She's such a easy person to root for, and just such a likable babyface. But she's obviously, I think she's kicking off the show tomorrow with Bianca and Rhea. I'm sure that will be a much better women's match than Charlotte and Tiffany and Bianca and Jade. Even though those are both good, I'm sure that match will be a lot better. They plug Xfinity, and then finally we get to the main event, triple threat match. CM Punk with Paul Heyman in his corner against Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins. So first we get that awesome video package, one of the best video packages WWE has done in years. It's the Soul Into Black by Machine Head. That is fucking awesome. That video package just fucking rules. I love that song, man. And then we get the entrances. First, it's Seth Rollins, and he comes out wearing all black. And I think to myself, he looks like he's wearing a fucking garbage bag. It's one of these stupid, dumb, ridiculous costumes that Seth Rollins wears every single show, especially the big shows. It's always something stupid. But here, this time, he's wearing this garbage bag. And then he pulls out a flamethrower, and what happens is you have the traditional set, which is, set up to be a hotel, and that's how it is. They don't necessarily change it to an LED screen to fit Seth Rollins' Titantron, so it's still how it looks like. And then Seth shoots the flamethrower and points it at the set, and then the LED shows the whole set going up in flames, and he sets it up on the bottom on the ramp, and everything just goes right onto flames. He did the same thing for WrestleMania 33 with his match against Triple H. He brought out the flamethrower, and so it's kind of repeat, but that's not what that's not. There's something else to this. WrestleMania 32, The Rock had an entrance where he shot out a flamethrower. Can that be a hint? Anyway, Seth then had the lights go out, and he went from wearing all black, now he's wearing all white. He makes his entrance, so he gets a special one. Someone who just did not get a special entrance was Roman Reigns. He just came out to his regular entrance, a tribal chief entrance. No Paul Heyman this time. He just walked down with the Ula Fala around his neck, made his entrance, and he was very over. First time Roman Reigns has been cheered at WrestleMania in a while. I guess WrestleMania 35 was sort of cheered, and but I mean, as a major babyface, probably actually might be the first time ever he's been cheered as a babyface at a WrestleMania to this degree. And then you had CM Punk, who got a major entrance. I thought probably my favorite entrance so far for WrestleMania. What it was it was a highlight of his career, and we hear originally this, we get this video package, and then we hear This Fire Burns, which is a freaking great song. I love that song. I like it better than Cult of Personality, by the way. This Fire Burns is by Killswitch Engage, and we hear it originally on the piano, and he's talking about his highlights of him being straight edge in his early life and in his career, him in WWE, and that's when it goes full into the song Heavy Metal, which is a heavy metal song. It's a traditional song of This Fire Burns, and we see just highlights of his career. I love when it goes, this fire burns always. It's just all his career. It's so awesome. It's his tribute, and it's like, this is what it's all about. He wants to be in the main event of WrestleMania. It's all been leading up to this. His whole career, his dream is he wants to main event WrestleMania, and he finally did it. He main evented WrestleMania. That was a story. It was freaking great, but that's the only the first half of the entrance. Then on stage is Living Color, and they perform Cult of Personality, his official theme song. Punk comes out with Heyman. He embraces each member of Living Color, gives them all a hug, acknowledges all of them, heads to the ring, and this is actually the second time they've played him out. They played him at WrestleMania 29 when he faced The Undertaker and lost. That's when the streak was still alive before it ended the next year. But that was his big entrance on the show. It was a great entrance, I have to say. For Punk was the best one, and then he comes out, and that's it. We get to the match. The match begins. Triple threat match. Main event, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Okay. So, all my criticisms have been apparent. This was a mid-WrestleMania. All these mid-card matches were just mid at best. Some of them were not really anything that bad. Maybe the tag match. But they were just average matches that you'd see on a Raw or a SmackDown. All of that changed my perception of the show. All of it changed with this main event, which was an all-time classic main event. This was a fucking great match. It was exciting. It got me so into it. It got me a fall on my chair one time. I loved it. So first he had Seth and Punk brawling into the crowd for a while. They used trash cans. He didn't really get a lot of weapons on the show. I think he had a stair spot with Roman going into it, but then Seth and Punk fought all throughout it. They used a couple trash cans and they made their way back to the barricade. Roman had a crossbody, and then the match gets into high gear once they get back into the ring. There's a whole bunch of near falls, and there's a whole bunch of counters. Each guy hit their finisher multiple times. Seth hit curb stomps. Punk hit go to sleeps to both guys. Reigns hit the spear. I thought for sure the match was over when Roman Reigns, he destroys CM Punk and Seth Rollins, because Rollins is trying to get Reigns to work with him. Punk's on the outside, and Rollins is trying to convince Punk, take him out and we'll settle it. We'll be the Shield again. And Reigns says yeah, and then Rollins is ready to have Punk set up. with the Shield powerbomb. And by the way, Rollins said that you needed me and you needed the bloodline. He actually even mentioned, he didn't mention Ambrose, he said Mox, which I said, what the fuck? But, he mentioned, the Shield and the bloodline. However, they have Punk set up, but then Reigns punches out Seth, and then he hits Punk with the powerbomb through the casino table, and now that set up as an announce booth, and you see it just all shred, all completely break apart. And I thought to myself, this is crazy, because that must have hurt to see that all break like that, because it has a much stronger give than the traditional announce table. Then Seth took a spot too. He just went crashing right through the casino announce booth. They both looked nasty. Then Roman hit the spear on the inside the ring onto Seth, but he kicked out. And then Punk's back in, and there's a lot of different near falls. There's the go to sleep that Punk hit, I think was on Roman, but he kicked out. And then there's Roman uses submission spots. Yeah, there was also a cool spot. There was a go to sleep, a spear, and curb stomp. Then there's just a whole bunch of near falls. There was submission near falls or spots where Rollins had a sharpshooter, and Roman used that guillotine submission hold that he barely ever uses. Eventually, Heyman has a chair, and Punk is telling him to give him the chair. So is Roman. But Heyman chooses Punk initially. He's ready to use the chair. Heyman gets in the ring, but he kicks Punk in the balls, kicks him in the balls. Sorry, no. He uses his arm and gives him a low blow. And then he hands the chair to Roman, and then Roman thinks that's it. I think he hits Punk with the chair. Punk's been taken out now. And then he goes to hit Rollins, but then Heyman gives Roman Reigns a low blow. He finally turns on the Tribal Chief after 5 years of a partnership. One of the best pairings ever, and that's Heyman, who already had one of the best pairings with Brock Lesnar, but his pairing with Roman Reigns has been excellent. He's the wise man, Paul Heyman, the wise man, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief. It's over. Paul Heyman has officially turned on Roman Reigns. Rollins has the chair. He whacks Reigns just like he did 11 years ago in the back when they broke up the Shield. I still remember watching it on TV. This one hit, and obviously this is also a throwback to last year's WrestleMania 40. And Roman hit Seth in the back with the steel chair, and that main event, and that cost him his title against Cody. And this time, Rollins hits Reigns really hard in the back at the chair. Punk's been taken out now, and then the curb stomp onto Roman Reigns. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins pins Roman Reigns again. He pinned him 10 years ago at WrestleMania 31 to win the WWE Championship for the first time, and 10 years later, he pins Roman Reigns. And this was Seth Rollins' third official WrestleMania main event. Roman Reigns had his 10th. This was, of course, Punk's first, but Punk pins Roman 10 years later, pins him again. CM Punk, I said Punk, why did I say him saying? Seth Rollins pins Roman Reigns 10 years later, pins him just like he did at WrestleMania 31 after a curb stomp. He celebrates with Heyman. Heyman embraces Rollins. Seth Rollins is now, I guess, a Paul Heyman guy. Roman Reigns and CM Punk both look dejected in the ring. And then Rollins and Heyman celebrate up the ramp. And that's how the show ended. Wow. What a way to end it. All-time great classic main event with a great finish, a great swerve, a shocking moment. Just an excellent main event, too. Just the match was awesome. That saved the whole show. This was a mid-WrestleMania. This was on its way to becoming an all-time worst WrestleMania if the main event just did not deliver. But the main event delivered. It saved the whole show for me. Saved everything. Made this just a show that's mid, but this was going to be a bad show if it wasn't for that main event. The main event was great. Also want to mention a post-show. So you had Roman Reigns and CM Punk both leave first. First was Roman, then Punk. They both left to the back. You had Jackie Redmond trying to interview CM Punk, even though they're friends. Punk walks off. And then you had Kathy Kelly trying to interview Roman Reigns. He never responded, and that was how the show ended. Then they did the post-show presser. I think Jade was outside with the panel. And then you had Jey Uso have his own, he was in front of the media
and Tiffany, Stratton, and Triple H to have Rollins or Heyman talk, because I think they're going to be involved tomorrow. I'll leave it at that. I might be wrong, but I'm predicting they're going to align with Cena, and Cena's going to beat Cody, and then it's going to be The Rock isn't on this too, and it's going to be a big new stable. That's how I see it going. But that was WrestleMania 41, Night 1. A mid-show. The undercard was very just nothing. It was a Raw or SmackDown matches filled with. That's how it felt like. But an all-time great classic WrestleMania main event. That's what saved the show. So if that main event did not deliver, this is going to be a bad, awful WrestleMania. But because the main event, it made it just made it an okay show. That's how I felt about it. Hopefully, WrestleMania Sunday is the better show, because there's a lot to live up to. Of all the night ones, this was the worst one. I thought even 36, the COVID show, was better because it had the Boneyard match. It had more good stuff there. 37 night one was a great show. That was a good one. 38 night one was also a great show. 39 night one's one of the best WWE events of all time. That's an all-time classic. 40 night one wasn't necessarily a great show. It was still good. The second night's the classic show. That's the all-timer. But 40 night one was still good. This was easily the worst night one. So I'm a little bit down. But you know what? Going in, I knew night 2 was going to be better than night 1 because the card. The card for night 1 was just so average. It just goes on. I don't want to rant about this. The whole WrestleMania build has been such a disappointment. I thought the big problem, I'm going to say this one last time, it's my WrestleMania review. I said this on my prediction show. The big problem was who they chose to win the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso and Charlotte were both busts. They both were not very good anymore. Charlotte's not good. Jey Uso's awful. Sucks. That was the biggest issue I had. And that's why I think the build-up was so lackluster. I think that was a dark cloud all over the WrestleMania build. Even the Chamber through the Cena heel turn, he wasn't on TV much. But I don't want to go over it. The WrestleMania Night 1 card wasn't that good. My expectations weren't that high. I was looking forward mostly to the main event, which delivered for me. Night 2's card just much better, and hopefully we get a great show tomorrow night, because I think it needs it. Hopefully we're having a different conversation tomorrow night.